Okay, so what happens to my US visa if my passport expires? It's a very common question, and here's the answer. I'm Shariq Khan, I'm the South Asian attorney. I'm licensed to practice law in California, and I help people worldwide with American immigration law. Your passport and your visa are two separate documents. Your passport is your identification, and your US visa allows you to enter and stay in the US for a specific purpose and duration. Passports generally have a validity of either 5 years or 10 years, depending on your country. But US visas come in various types and durations, depending on your visa category and the discretion of the US embassy or consulate. When your passport expires, your US visa doesn't automatically become invalid. Valid US visas and expired passports are still valid. The only requirement is that you travel with both the expired passport and the valid passport. Both passports must be of the same nationality. So if you have a passport from two different countries and the US visa is on the expired passport from the first country, you cannot enter the US on a second country's valid passport, unless of course it contains a valid US visa. If the visa in the previous passport is damaged, for example, some official is working on your passport and he clips the corners of the visa, that visa will no longer be valid. A visa will also be invalid if it's inside a passport that has been reported lost or stolen. If your visa becomes invalid due to the reasons I mentioned, or for any other reason, you must apply for a new visa. If you're finding this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more visa-related tips and travel advice. So what's gonna happen if my visa expires during my stay in the US? Your visa's expiration date has nothing to do with how long you can stay in the US. The visa simply tells you the length of time you have until you can enter the country. The actual length of time that you can stay in the US is going to be determined by the DHS or the Department of Homeland Security. It's going to be at the port of entry, like the airport. They'll decide how long you're going to be allowed to stay in the country. And they'll mark the permitted time on your I-94 arrival record. On many visa types, you'll get 6 months of initial stay, regardless of when your visa expires. Say you enter the US in June, and your visa expires in August. But since the DHS has given you the permission to stay for 6 months, you can stay in the US until December. So that means that you can actually legally stay in the US, even on an expired visa. Please don't procrastinate. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where your US visa expires before your passport is sorted out. To wrap it up, your US visa doesn't automatically expire with your passport. If your visa is still valid, you can travel to the US with both your old passport and your new passport. And once you enter the US, you can stay here for as long as the DHS allows you to do so, even if your passport is expired. I hope this video has provided you with some clarity. If you have any questions, please contact my office and schedule a consultation. Safe travels, and I'll see you in the next video.